What's up, BSC?
Hey, I'm so sad we're not with you in person.
Boo.
But we are together
In spirit.
in spirit.
Like, we're not even literally together right now because this was shot prior to when you're watching it. So,
But we want to do our best to create a great online experience for you.
just for you.
Because the storm is happening,
Yeah.
probably right now, actually.
Maybe.
You know, whatever.
Yeah.
But you chose to be in church.
Yeah.
And so we're glad that you're here.
Yep.
We just got a few announcements for you.
Yep.
The first one, Matt,
my
you want to hit it with
announcement.
them? Hit it.
We know that we've been in this series called Be Real, but we know that we're going to be entering into a new series called R.I.P. RIP next week. Hey, all October long, we're going to be in a series called R.I.P. Rest in peace. We're going to be saying rest in peace to some things in our lives, to some things we need to put away.
That don't belong there.
That don't belong there. Some things that need to go to the grave and stay there. It's going to be an amazing time. But not only that, I think last year during the month of October, we did this thing where we had dress up and we did themes and we did all these.
Very into it right now.
I'm just ready to just be there.
Hey, but the first one for October
is Mark's favorite.
Yeah.
He's a little he's not even gonna be there, but he's a little partial.
It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be awesome. What is that?
Hey, we are doing country versus country club. So come in your best yeehaw attire or country club polo, khakis, dress real nice, visor, whatever that looks like.
Name brand only.
100, whatever that looks like. So make sure week one you're dressed for that.
Yeah.
Our second announcement is Serve Day is happening this Saturday. As of right now, it's happening this Saturday, so we want to see you there from 9 to 12 o'clock at the Dream Center. You guys came out last month. You did an amazing job. We're going to do it again this month, so meet us there this Saturday. Matt?
Meet us there. Hey, everybody loves small groups,
100%.
and that's why we do what we do, because we want you to get into a group and to discuss and to converse and to just grow together in the Word. But this week, obviously tomorrow, there's a storm in the midst. We are not going to be having Thursday small group tomorrow. But small groups will continue the following week with Monday and with Thursday again. So if you've not signed up for small groups, that Monday night group is middle schoolers on the north side and high schoolers on the south side, and Thursday is high schoolers on the north side. You can go to the link in our bio and sign up. So just know, no small groups tomorrow, but we will have small groups next week.
Perfect. Hey, also, if you're a student and you want to join our student leadership, we're going to leave that open for a whole nother week. So if you're new to the ministry, maybe you just moved here, whatever that looks like, you want to be involved in student leadership and serve with us and be a part of everything that we're doing, we want you to do that. So make sure you sign up for student leadership. And Matt, what is our last announcement right now? I'm so uncomfortable.
That was actually a really comfortable position. Our last, but certainly not least, announcement is that we need money for Africa Oasis. Maybe you've made a pledge. Maybe you're on the way. Maybe you've given all of the money to your pledge. Maybe you're like, what are you even talking about? We are raising money to build water wells in Africa through an organization called Africa Oasis. And not only that, but they are able to share the gospel with these people. It's an amazing effort. And maybe you've yet to give $1, but we have 29 days left.
29.
29. That's the big 29. That's Mark's age. He wishes. But we need you to partner with us and to partner with God. So let that speak to you right now and give some money. It's amazing. God's speaking to you. Amazing.
Hey, thanks for hanging out with us. Hey, we're actually about to go into a time of worship. And so let's enjoy this song and then hear from our speaker tonight.
See ya.
Christ is my firm foundation, the rock on which I stand when everything around me is shaken. I've never been more glad, and I put my faith in Jesus, 'cause He's never let me down. He's faithful through generations. So why would he fail now? He won't. He won't. He won't fail. He won't fail. I've still got joy in chaos. I've got peace that makes no sense. So I won't be going under. I'm not held by my own strength. 'Cause I built my life on Jesus. He's never let me down. He's faithful in every season. So why would he fail now? He won't, yeah, he won't. He won't fail. He won't fail. He won't. He won't. He won't fail. He won't fail. Rain came, wind blew, but my house was built on you, and I'm safe with you. I'm gonna make it through. Rain came, wind blew, my house was built on you, and I'm safe with you. I'm gonna make it through. Rain came, wind blew, my house was built on you, and I'm safe with you. I'm gonna make it through. Rain came, wind blew, my house was built on you. I'm safe with you. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it through. 'Cause my house was built on you. And I'm gonna make it through. I'm standing strong on you. 'Cause Christ is my firm foundation, the rock on which I stand when everything around me is shaking. Oh, I've never been more glad that I put my faith in Jesus. 'Cause he's never let me down. He's faithful through generations. So why would he fail now? He won't. He won't. He won't fail. He won't fail. He won't. He won't. He won't fail. He won't fail. He won't.
What's up, friends? My name is Keren, and I am a pastor at a local church right here in Brandon, Florida, just kind of not too far from y'all. And I'm pretty happy to be with y'all. I know, like, y'all would rather be in church, y'all would rather be in y'all gym, y'all would rather be bumping some music, having some fun, seeing people face to face. But we're in this thing called a hurricane, and Ian is just down our necks, and we're trying to make sure we are staying safe. So Technology is amazing, so we get to do this from afar in a safe spot. Now, I want to share some stuff on my heart, and I want to begin with a question. You ready? Y'all ready? I want to ask this simple question and take some time. Matter of fact, make sure you are in the chat. Make sure you are in the comments, responding, engaging. If you're in a small group, make sure you pause for a little bit and engage this question because I think it's kind of fun. So let me ask this question. You ready? What would you do if you had $1 million? Like, what would you do? Like, what would you do? Like, who would you tell? Who would you not tell? How much would you spend in once? Like, all these things are probably sparking through your mind because $1 million, dang, it's a lot of money. Now, I want you to think about this for a moment. As I asked the question, a lot of y'all was kind of like going in, like trying to figure out what you would do, trying to figure out who you would spend, like all these different things. And I want to explain what took place in the nanoseconds of me asking that question and you trying to respond. Here's what took place. Your brain released this chemical called serotonin. And in this chemical reaction, it like kind of relaxes the brain a little bit. And when it relaxes the brain, it allows us to make and find answers. Now, why is this important? Because it's important because questions are powerful. Now think about it for a moment. Girls, if a fellow walked up to you and said, hey, would you like to go to homecoming dance with me? I don't know if y'all still do that. I'm getting old. Either way, if someone said, hey, would you like to go to prom with me? You would, in the nanoseconds that you're going to respond, you would stop the chemical release and then it would give you a moment to find an answer. It would give you a moment to find an answer. Or after church, let's think about this one for a moment. Oh, this is big for all of us. After church, you're hungry and you look at your group of friends or your family, you say, hey, where do you want to eat? Like it takes you 15 minutes to find one spot that everyone wants to do. That's the question. There's power in questions. And here's what I've learned, right? I've learned that questions are powerful. They're powerful. Now, questions aren't just to receive answers. No. Questions spark curiosity. Questions invoke emotion. Questions brings images to our mind and ideas. And questions, to be honest, they're way more important than answers. Questions are vital for something much deeper. Here's what Picasso said. Picasso said this, I don't like computers. You would ask why. His response would be, because they only give answers. They don't cause us to wrestle. They don't cause us to ponder and to search deep inside the recesses of our soul for the right answer. So with that being said, Jesus, the ultimate question asker, matter of fact, in the New Testament, Jesus asked 307 questions, y'all. Ooh, that's a lot of questions. Come on, put it in the chat right now if you think that's a lot of questions. Give me some hundreds. Matter of fact, give me any type of emoji to express how many questions that is. Matter of fact, you probably asked all of them questions like when you were younger, man. Oh my gosh, if I had time, I would talk about how like 4-year-old girls ask on average 400 questions an hour. Bruh. I have 4 baby girls, and I understand what it is to be receiving these questions. What am I trying to say? I'm trying to tell you that questions are vital. They're part of life. And Jesus asked a lot of questions. Now, here's what I come to believe about questions. I believe questions reveal a lot about who we are. Matter of fact, we're able to understand ourselves more. And in this day and age where we're dealing with all these racial tensions, we're dealing with all these identity crises and all the stuff that's happening within our world, I think it's vital that you and I get to learn more about who ourselves and who we are and where we stand in tough moments and where we stand against certain discriminations, where we stand against certain biases, where we stand against people. Now, Jesus shares this amazing story, as you would know it, the story of the Good Samaritan. Now, the Good Samaritan is a story you probably heard in Sunday school, you probably heard in church. One of your pastors may have taught that. You know the story, but I want to be real practical and kind of talk through that. Now, I'm not going to read the whole story for the sake of time. I want you to read it, but read Luke chapter 10, verse 25 through 36. But I'll give you a quick nutshell. Jesus, excuse me, I'm about to sneeze. Yeah, if I cut, it's because I sneeze like uncontrollably a few times, so I'm cool. But Jesus shares a story about this ruler or this lawyer who comes up and asks him a question. The question was, what must I do to inherit eternal life? When Jesus simply answers, well, what does the Bible say? How do you read it? The lawyer responds, well, love God with all your heart, soul, strength, mind, and love your neighbor. And Jesus is like, yeah, perfect. And then the lawyer asks another question. He's like, well, trying to justify himself. He says, well, who's my neighbor? And then Jesus tells him the story of the Good Samaritan. He tells the story about a man who was headed from Jerusalem to Jericho and was robbed, stripped of all that he had, and beaten half to death. Now, while he was laying on the road by himself, a priest comes by and sees the man. Now, the priest looks at him and kind of heads on the other side of the road. Like he saw him and completely avoided him. And then a Levite came as well. A Levite, after the priest saw the half-beaten man on the floor, and he went to the other side. But then this interesting character comes up, which we know now as the Good Samaritan, right? The Good Samaritan comes and he sees the man on the floor. He helps the man. He bandages him up. He puts oil and wine on his wounds to help really alleviate the pain and kind of purify any kind of infection. And he puts him on his own donkey. Then he brings him to an inn, pays for him, and tells the innkeeper not to have him pay him back. And so, and he leaves. And then Jesus, he asked this question at the end. Here's what he says. He says, which of these three do you think was a neighbor to the man who fell in the hands of the robbers? And the expert said this in verse 37. He says, the one who had mercy on him. And Jesus looked at him and said, hey, go and do likewise. Now, what is Jesus trying to teach us here? He's trying to reveal the matters of our heart. He's trying to reveal what's inside of your heart and what's inside of mine. As we begin to talk through how we ought to treat people and some of these controversial things, I think it's super important, watch this, that we know who we are, that we understand the matters that are inside of our heart. Now, I want to ask three questions just to kind of spark this inside of us so that we can figure out who we are, but also learn from what Jesus is trying to teach us. And here's the three questions. Question number one is this, because here's what I've learned in life. Before I get to the question, I want to say this. This is what I've learned in life, super like mind-blowing, is that it's easy to love a God you can't see than love people that you can see. Like, it's easy to stand in church and sing all the songs and to jump up and down and play all the games, but to love people you can see that are hurting you, to love people you see that are different from you, to love people that you see that are maybe confused in the way that they're living and how they should operate their life, that's harder. Like, loving people is hard. Y'all, I've been married for 10 years, and that's hard. Y'all, I got 4 girls. It's hard sometimes to love my kids. Sometimes it's hard for you to love your parents. Sometimes it's hard for you to love your siblings. Sometimes it's hard for you to love your friends. It's hard. Loving people is hard, but here's the truth. The truth is Jesus called us to love. He calls us to love, and we see this in this story that these 2 of the 3 characters lack this love. What kind of love am I talking about? I'm talking about this agape love, this sacrificial love, this unconditional love, this love that means I'm going to do anything for you kind of love, and that's not what was taking place. And so here's what I want us to get to a point where we're loving everybody. Not just the people that look like us, but everybody, even those who may be figuratively half dead. And so here are the questions. You ready? Question number 1, I want you to think through this. Question number 1 is this. Will you seize the opportunity to love your neighbor, or will you pass it by? Super important, super vital, super critical that we get this moment, because sometimes it's easy to pass an opportunity to love somebody by than to love them. Now, I'll never forget this moment because we're pulling this from the text. The priest, this godly man, didn't seize the opportunity to love this moment. Matter of fact, he avoided it. I was in a Chipotle one day, and bro, this was a funny day, man. This was funny. I was in line. You know, sometimes Chipotle's line be long as heck. And this dude comes up to me. I'm gonna be very descriptive. This black dude comes up to me. He looked like he was kind of homeless or he wasn't kept right. And he said, "Yo, can I rap to you for a moment?" And I was like, okay, he's probably using slang. He probably mean he wants to talk to me about something. I was like, sure, what's up? Little did I know, homeboy started rapping to me. I'm talking about rapping, like gutter hood type of, like your mama should not, like you should not be listening type of music rap. He was going in. Now, mind you, I'm in the middle of Chipotle and this dude is rapping to me. Now, this is what is going through my mind, all right? What's going through my mind, I'm gonna be real with you. Can I be real with you? I'm gonna be real with you. What's going through my mind is this, like, I'm a black guy, this is a black guy. People are looking at, oh, look, these are two black people being black. You know what I'm talking about? So I was like low-key embarrassed, you know what I mean? So I was like, oh, dang. So I was like, oh yeah. So I was kind of trying to like make sure I didn't like do what he did. And he's like, whatever. So the moment happened and then he stopped. But let me pause for a moment because before he rapped to me, he says, can I borrow 5 minutes of your time? And I said, sure. At the end of that moment, he started spitting some stuff. He's told me some stuff and then he left. But there was this, before he left, there was this big pull for me to say, hey, can I borrow a minute of your time and share the gospel to him? But for some reason, I didn't. I let him go by. I was embarrassed and I walked up and you know, I did what anyone of us, like any one of us would do. I was like, nah, I don't know that guy. He's crazy. Yeah. Try to disassociate myself with him instead of taking the opportunity to love on him. The truth is, you're going to come across people who maybe fit a stereotype. You're going to come across people who maybe look a certain way in society's eyes, but it's not the moment for us to avoid them, but it's the moment for us to seize the opportunity and love on them. So the question is, are you going to seize the opportunity to love your neighbor or are you going to avoid them and pass them by? Here's the second question. The second question is this: will you approach broken people or avoid them? Here's the truth. The truth is, like, we cannot waste our opportunity for temporary comfort. Because I know it's easy to be like, okay, I'm uncomfortable right now and this is awkward, so I'm not going to love on this person. But maybe it's time you brought somebody of different skin color to your home. Maybe it's time you ventured into having friends that don't look like you. Maybe it's time that you stuck up for somebody that may on social media or maybe on another platform that you wouldn't normally do, and people will look at you like, what are you doing? Like, that's weird. No. Like, maybe it's time for us to seize the opportunity. Maybe it's time for us to approach broken people. The Levite, the second character in the story, was real unique because this dude, like this guy, is a Christian. He's like an associate pastor. He's like the up and coming, and he did not seize the opportunity because, like, the word Christian automatically means compassionate. The word Christian automatically means loving, right? That's what society would say. That's what we would tell people, but that's not what's happening. That's not what's happening at all. No, he completely avoided him. Like as Christians, we're called to broken people. Like, hear this. Love is not an option as a believer in Jesus. Love is an obligation. Here's what Jesus tells us. Jesus tells us, a new command I give you: love everyone like I've loved you. Like, Jesus is not, it's a requirement as a believer. So we ought to approach broken people. It doesn't matter what they look like. It doesn't matter that he's black. It doesn't matter that she's Mexican. It doesn't matter that they don't have the same social economics as you. It doesn't matter they don't drive in a nice car. It doesn't matter to have J's. It doesn't matter. We ought to love everybody. It doesn't matter if they're practicing a lifestyle that's not the same as you. Now, I'm saying engagement is not the same as approval. Just because you talk to somebody who doesn't agree with you doesn't mean you approve them. It just means we're called to love people. This means we're in a broken world where everyone, and they need love. They need the love that Jesus showed you and me. Like, we have to be willing to approach broken people, not just pass them by. I love what the scripture tells us. It tells us that while we were still sinners, Jesus sent his only son to die for you and me. Like while we were still messed up, while we were still broken, while we were still jacked up, Jesus died for you and me. I love this quote by Martin Luther King. This is what he says. He said this: we must discover the power of love, the redemptive power of love. And when we do that, we will make this old world a new world. For love is the only way. Approach everyone and show them the love that Christ showed you and I. That's the second question. So the third question, as we're trying to reveal more about you and I, is this: will you give up yourself for others? So here's where we have the Good Samaritan. This young man comes through, and the Samaritan, you got to understand like the difference between the Samaritan, because the Samaritan is not like this lovable or likable guy. The Samaritan is hated by the Jews. So this Jewish man would have never talked to this guy if he had the time of day. He would have never approached him. He would have never done anything. No, he would have hated him. He would have absolutely been appalled. Like, let me give you an equivalent. Some of you guys may not know who this person is, but look him up. You'll be shocked. It'd be like Osama bin Laden coming to help you. Completely hated by everybody. Yet, he's helping those who hate him. I mentioned earlier, like I grew up, man, with a lot of things, seriously, that was going wrong in my life. And I remember, never forget, like a moment where I was at a pool with my wife. We just got married. We were going to the community pool in our apartment complex, and this gentleman stopped me, not thinking I could be married to a white woman. He said, "Hey, you don't belong here." I'll never forget, like I was driving in the car with my wife, and these dudes in the truck pulled down the window and looked over and says, "Oh, look at that white girl with that inner." I'll never forget just being in moments where people are literally choosing someone else because I don't look like I should, or being in high school and being possibly picked on and potentially jumped because I was black. The truth is, I have a reason to hate some people sometimes. I had a reason to grow up and hate everybody. But that's not the call. The call is to love people above you. That's hard, I know. It's challenging. It's difficult. It's frustrating at times, but I get it. But I'll never forget, I learned from my father-in-law. Now, quick, like, little testimony. My wife and I, we started off backwards in our relationship, and doing so, my wife is white chocolate. I love her. That's my boo thing. And we started off wrong. And so her dad was not happy. And I'll never forget thinking like, oh man, he hates me because I'm black. Like, here comes another black man ruining another white girl. You know, one of those kind of stereotypical stories. But he looked at me, he said, "Hey son, I don't see color." This was profound. He said, I see character. And I'm looking for character in people. I don't give a dang about the color of their skin. And here's the truth. The truth is, when we're interacting with people in this world, we ought to look for character. We ought to extend the same grace that Jesus extended to us when dealing with everybody. Give people the benefit of the doubt. Do not make a judgment based on somebody's outward appearance. It doesn't matter what they look like. There's something else deep inside there, and there is a call, hear me, watch this, for you and I to love everybody. We're called to love everybody. We're called to be there for everybody. Here's what I learned about the kingdom of God and this world that we live in. We live in this upside down paradox with Jesus, because let me illustrate it this way. Let's do the alphabet together. The alphabet says A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. Continue. J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V. Now, in America, in the Western Hemisphere, I always come before you. But you know, in God's kingdom, you comes before I. Jesus says, love your neighbor, you, as yourself, I. The truth is, we have to put ourselves above people. And this is why I like these questions, because these questions will reveal the deep down secrets in your heart and where you need to improve. And so here's what I want to end with. I want to end with this statement, and we're going to pass it off. This simple statement: if God can see you, then you can see other people. Let's not be like everybody else. Let's be different. Let's choose to love people because God chose to love us. Peace.